my mother and also 3 of her sisters had a little group, and they were very young and they were not yet married, and they had a little group and they went around from church to church sort of singing. Apparently they were quite good. I spent a lot of time listening to my mother singing and also my grandmother. And as I always say, I could tell the mood. I always say this because it's so true, and we kid about it a great deal now with my siblings. We could always tell grandmother's mood by the song she sang. Because if she were feeling sort of happy and everything was going along, of course, it was a very happy song. And if she was really concerned about something, it was more mournful. And it was very interesting to be around this kind of thing as a very, very young child, because of course you can't articulate what it is you're thinking and feeling or taking in the same way.
And no wonder in a sense that when you tried to articulate some things early on, you would do it in song.
Yes, because it was simply easier.
And you said also there's more memory inside of me for the spiritual tradition of Negro music than perhaps for most of the European music that I sing, because this music was sung by my mother and grandmother and great-grandmother and all of the other people that have made me.
Yes,
Like
and they have made me.
Yes, of course you've studied Schubert.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course you've studied Brahms. Yes, of course you've studied and performed Wagner and so many other great European musicians.
And I don't sing in a language that I don't speak. No.
No.
Jamais.
Jamais.
No.
It's important to understand what one sings.
Well, as I always say to young singers, as musicians we have yet another level of responsibility. We have words. And it's rather important that they should be understood. And if we don't understand them, it is very difficult to make that person sitting in the last row of the family circle, who's actually in another town, understand what it is we're doing. And I really believe and I insist that if we as singers are doing what we're supposed to do, meaning that we know precisely what we are singing at every point, we know what is the modifier, what is the verb, what is the noun, what all of the words mean, that the audience need not speak that language in which we're singing in order to understand what it is about which we are singing. And if we're doing our jobs properly, it should not be necessary to have the little words across the screen. It's very funny, I have to say this, because I was working with some singers, and I had a person say a very surprising thing to me, and I repeat it because it's still, even after 3 years, it's still a mysterious thing to have heard. And I was talking to her about the text and why we needed to work on that and to work on the language and so on. And she said, yes, I understand that you are a text-based singer. So I said, oh, I didn't know there was another kind. Yeah. Thank you.
This does bring me back to the heritage.
Yes.
And in a very simple way. These words, they mean something universally.
These songs are a part of the fabric of the world, not just the American fabric. The tapestry is very big, and it encompasses the world, and it is so wonderful to sing in Korea and to sing a spiritual and look out into the audience and somebody is mouthing the words with me. It's a beautiful thing to experience. If we allow ourselves some form of art, whether it's writing or painting or movement or singing or playing an instrument or whatever it is that we can do, if we understand that we have that inside of us, then it must be that everybody else does too. So how can you dislike that person just because that person looks differently from you. Because that person has that same spirit that you have. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to hate. It makes it a little bit more difficult to be intolerant. It helps you to understand that humanness is what we share and that we must share. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen to us. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you very much.